songwriting scenes in LA and Nashville and New York are much different from each other. And I think that, you want to visit each of them and look at each of them before you make your choice of where you're going to move to when you're starting out as a songwriter. The Nashville world, which is where I started out, is known for its songwriting. It is centered around the song in Nashville. And there are still publishing companies and there are still song pluggers that pitch songs for songwriters every day. And there are songwriters in offices all up and down Music Row writing songs every day and collaborating with everyone every day. And they start at 10 a.m. and they end at 2, and they might pick up another one from 2:30 to 6. And then they go out and they perform the songs, even together in rounds in the evenings. And so it's just completely centered around the song. It's very hospitable to new young songwriters and very accessible if you're a committed, if you have a committed great gift. Los Angeles songwriting community is completely different. I mean, when I first moved to Los Angeles, it was about 5 years into my professional career. I just remember going around going, where are all the songwriters at? Where are all the producers? Where is everybody? LA's very spread out. All the songwriters and producers especially are all in their guest houses in their backyards, creating all day. And if you're not there writing with them, you don't see them. And there's just not a lot of community out here. So fortunately, I was with a publisher. That created a little bit of community because everyone signed to that roster is all the people that I was hooked up with. But it's interesting, like I was signed with Warner Chappell and they never hooked me up with an EMI writer. They didn't say yes to writing with a Sony writer. LA is also very producer-based, especially in today's pop market. A lot of the labels, because they're not developing anymore and because a lot of things have changed, what's happening is they're going to producers first and not necessarily songwriters. They're going to the producers and saying, okay, we're going to sign a contract with you. You get 6 songs on the album. Maybe another producer gets 6 songs on the album, and that's that. And they'll go to the producer who has the biggest hits at the time. So as a songwriter, if you're not writing with that producer, you probably aren't going to be able to write for that album. New York is different than both of them. I'd say New York is more similar to LA than Nashville. I've probably done the least writing in New York because it's much more urban-based, the one genre that I haven't really stepped into. But it's much more beat-based and track-based, and people send you a track and you write to it, and that hasn't been my specialty, so that's not something I've done. But New York, also, very similar to LA, where you have to just find your people and you stick there. The demo process for the songwriters is pretty important. I wouldn't say it's essential, because there are times that I've written songs that I've just done a piano vocal and it ended up on the album. So sometimes just a piano vocal, just a guitar vocal will work. The labels have become smaller in size, and their development departments are no longer there, and they just want their job to be really easy. So if you can give them a song that already sounds finished and radio ready, that is your best option. That's your best chance. Especially if you're writing dance music or something for the clubs, or really high up tempo pop songs or rock songs, anything like that, to send them something that could be great, they're not going to take time for that. People ask me all the time, how do you get into this business? And I think it's drastically changed in just the 20 years that I've been in it. But one of the things that is the same is if you are writing great songs, you just have to find your people. You just find your people. It's that simple. And the best way that I know to find your people is to go to where your people might be. The best way to do that is to go to these workshops and expos and conventions that amazing people put on just for songwriters to get noticed and just for young artists to be discovered. Some of these expos are like the Durango Songwriters Expo is a really great one. ASCAP does an expo now that's really, really good. The Christian Gospel Music Association does a countrywide competition every year that's really good. That's in fact how I got my start, was in that competition. So I think there's one in Estes Park in Colorado that's really reputable. You know, it costs a little bit of money to go to these things, probably anywhere from a couple $100 up to $1,000. But what these expos will do is they bring in professionals from the industry like myself, a lot of label people, publishing people, managers, and seriously, from the industry, we go to these events to find new young talent. And if it's a great event, they're going to give you a chance to be heard and to perform if you want to, and to really meet people and gain relationships. And I think that's really the best way that I know to go find your people. The other thing to do is to just start playing where you are. Like if you don't live in LA or Nashville or New York or one of the big music cities, start playing where you are. If you can build a following where you are and basically burn out the town that you're in, then you're ready to move forward.